It's a bank holiday Monday, the sun's out, you're all sunbathing, you're looking for something to listen to, and then this lands in your Patreon, an episode where me and Daniel are actually on tour. Sloss and Humphreys are on the road. We've got a day off in London. We're going to go and meet up with some of the boys for a drink, but before we did that, we pressed record, and Danny talked about how he thinks Top Gun's shite. He's a bit late to the party. I mean, it's been out 30 years, but he watched it, and you get to hear his appraisal on this pod.
Sloss and Humphreys on the road.
Muggins and Cream, Cream and Muggins, straight thuggin', living the dream.
That's our intro.
Fucking muggles.
Tickling the clit inside your head that makes you laugh. They said it can't be done.
Are we in the same seats?
That's hack.
Ah, muggles.
Accidental rim job in the park.
Kiss, kiss, kiss.
Or am I just being cynical?
Muggled it up on fucking Mugglepedia.
Where have you been since 9/11?
Welcome back. Sloss and Humphreys are actually on the road.
Well, aye.
On the road. We woke up in bunk beds this morning.
We did.
If you're wondering how glamorous it is.
Aye, it really, the reason we're in bunk beds is because we're staying at Milo's, which is always nice.
We're in a hostel. Imagine Molly and I put up in dormitories.
Well, this is the thing, I'm not complaining about this because it's lovely to spend time with Milo
So
and
nice. Your godchildren.
and my godchildren. And I guess his wife. No.
The broad.
The old ball and chain. Nicest woman in the world. But that's 2 days in a row where you and me have shared a fucking room, and that feels like a tour 9 years ago. And I'm not about that life.
You're not cool with it anymore.
Nah. That's done. That chapter of my life and our life is over. Like the first 6 years of us touring together. Well, maybe not 6, maybe it was the first 3 or 4, but was us sharing hotel rooms every single night, except for Fridays and Saturdays where we book separate hotel rooms because we thought we'd stand a better chance of getting laid then. Then it would always just turn into...
Oh, so naive.
Oh, God. You know what, man? We're in Banbury on Tuesday. I reckon we'll get fucking laid. Aye, do you daft wee cunt. Aye.
We've had to drop our standards really drastically, and they weren't that high anyway.
No. Don't say that as if that wasn't in our arsenal.
We're talking about when Matty was teasing me. It was, I think, 2011, 2012. And Matty, whose house we stayed at the night before last, was teasing us that we'd been on this tour and we hadn't been late in 2 weeks and we're both single. Mm-hmm. And we just took such offence to it that we just felt that was gone.
Because we were just, man, we were stupid, toxic little boys. And and all he did was he pressed one button where he was like, "You're not real men," and that just made us go, and then...
And he kept exaggerating how long it had been as well. He was like, "It's been 11 weeks." And like, it hasn't been 11 weeks. Like, as if, why would we give a fuck?
Aye.
What Matty thinks. But we did.
We did.
And there were some really lucky girls that week.
Mm.
They were really punching.
Aye, but I just don't enjoy. I just think there's a certain age where you don't really share rooms with your mates anymore.
Well, you know what was dangerous about it is we were sharing a bed, right? And it's happened before. We've been sharing a bed before, and we've been fucking on tour, like you say, back in the day. But normally we're constantly on the road, constantly in a strange bed and all that, right? We've just had 12 months solid in the bed with my lass.
Aye.
That's so dangerous to climb in bed with someone else. I'm so pleased we didn't wake up spooning.
Well, I had practice. I was in Australia for ages, so I was used to going alone and not being fucking woken up at stupid time. That's a lie. It doesn't wake me up in the morning. I've got one of those weird things where I could sleep through bombs going off, but if you were to whisper my name from another room, I'd hear you. Or I'll sleep through people playing music downstairs.
We slept through, spewing up all night in the toilet next to our room.
Very, very selective hearing. I can sleep through a party downstairs, but if I've set an alarm, but my phone's on fucking silent and the alarm's for 5 a.m. and just the phone vibrates, that will still wake me up. I always remember my dad when I was young. He'd walk into bed with me like, Dad, nothing. And then I phone it.
Stepdad.
I just call him Martin. You rang. And then at 4 a.m, you'd walk in and you just creak the door open slightly and be like, "I feel sick," and he'd be out of the bed in the fucking shop. You've got that.
You'd rather deal with you being sick than deal with the actual sick.
Aye. But I also think it's just selective. Like, you've got bits in your brain where you go, right, that's an important noise, and I'll register that.
Yeah.
And then that's an unimportant noise, and I'm not going to register that. And I think that's, I don't want to explain this to Cara, but I think that's why I don't hear half the things she says.
You've tuned it out. You've got like a filter on.
No, look, Cara is filled with really good information, and I would be an infinitely less organised man if I didn't have her in my life. Like, she's the one that reminds me to do.
She's a file of facts.
Aye, she's very, very good at reminding me of what.
Remember dates.
Aye, but what she also does is she likes to interrupt anything I'm doing to make me look at the cat.
Oh, it's plants in my house.
She'll just be like, I'll be sitting there watching TV with Cullen, or I'll be reading a fucking book, or I'll be watching fucking D&D, or I'll be listening to a podcast, or I'll be cooking, or I'll be cleaning. She'll go, Daniel, and you go, yeah, what? She goes, look at the cat. And I'm like, I can't. Come on, man. It's a great cat and I love it, but unless it's doing a fucking backflip at this point in time, is it just an acute position?
I'd love Natalie to just assume a default if I've seen the plants. It's because there's a new leaf on a plant, and like she's been like nurturing them.
And is that because she kissed it?
Them every day. She kissed the plant, Danny.
Aye.
She kissed the plant. It wasn't like a performance piece because she knew I was there. I was just sat in the bed playing on my phone, and she walked in and went, "Hey, look, it's got a new leaf. Oh, it's grown." And then she picked it up and kissed it. And I went, "That wasn't for me. That was for you. That."
Aye.
You weren't doing a bit.
And she says she's not brooding now.
Oh no!
Walking around kissing new leaves on a plant, be like, "No, I don't think I've got a very mothering nature."
It's not very maternal at all.
Nah, no, it's not for me. Some women, when they get to my age, they just get these really, really weird instincts. Oh my God, he's flowering! Oh, take a photo of me in the flower guy.
Well, this is worrying. It's just going to want 70 children.
We're not into plants, but we're finally now getting our not so living wall turned back into a living wall.
Oh yeah, so Natalie was appraising that, like an architect looking at an old ruin.
Aye. We bought a house with a living wall, and then it very quickly became a
living wall is just, it's potted plants all the way up the wall, like top to bottom, so the wall's just green.
Yeah.
And it's got an inbuilt like water.
Yeah.
Like, it'll get watered at the right time every day.
Yeah. And we didn't install this, by the way. This came
with
the house, and it looked gorgeous when they lived there.
And then Cullen moved into the basement, and all of these just toxic corruption just kind of floated up the wall and just killed any vegetation in the vicinity of his room.
I just think he was sucking the water out from the bottom of the plant pot, so they just
Aye. Draining the roots, taking the heads off them and that.
Aye, and then we were like last year. I was like, we're gonna get the fucking living wall fixed, because that was roughly, I think it was like the end of
it's a really nice feature to have in your house.
Aye, and then the pandemic kicked in, and I was like, if you think I'm spending money on 100+ plants during a fucking pandemic, and like, unless they're all marijuana, you can go fuck yourself.
Oh, there's an idea.
Don't think it would grow up a wall, but I am right.
Nah, as well. Like I've seen in action that the horticulture it takes to grow marijuana. It isn't just watering a plant.
No, it's
that's
not.
Like having an exotic pet.
I've been reading up on it because I'd like to grow wheat at least once in my life, but I'd rather, you can either do you've got two occasions when you can do it, right? You can either do it now when you're young, which is more like normally if it's just people trying to fucking deal, but mine would be just for like self-use.
Getting high on your own supply.
Aye, yeah, and just
like home cooking.
Yeah, exactly. Turn it into make my own butter with it. Carol fucking turn it into edibles, turn it into syrup. I could really like that.
And she makes cracknel. Cracknel.
Aye, Cara makes really good edibles if you just give her the fucking.
It's essentially the nest that you would put your little mini eggs in.
Yes, aye.
It's just essentially that, isn't it? Like crispy cake.
Aye, but she does it. She does it with fucking wheat butter, which is dangerous because cracknel in general is very, very fucking Moorish. So you eat some of the fucking wheat cracknel, and then you get high off of it, and then you're like, I need more. So I'm always
it's like if you imagine you had weed Maltesers.
Aye.
And you have a Malteser, you can't just have a Malteser.
Well, that's what they should fucking do with the edibles. Like, you see gummy bear edibles, right? Each of those should be 0.2 of a dose.
Homeopathy.
Like,
so you can gorge on them.
Aye, it shouldn't be like, I remember going to, like, first time in Denver, I was like, how many of these should I take? And they were like, half of one. And I'm like, right, you fucked up then. If the portion size is half of what we've given you, you fucked up proportions. That's all I've always said to Cara, like, make 2 bits of cracknel. Make weed cracknel, and I'll eat that. And then when I'm high, I'll have the normal cracknel as well. That's the only other time you get to grow weed.
Hold on, I think I've got the audio on the wrong setting. So, sorry everybody if the audio was a bit shitter then than it should have been.
You nailed it now?
I think so, I'm not sure.
Well, we'll see.
We're at Milo's house, we're not in a studio no more. We're not in Kansas anymore.
No. The only other time you can really garden marijuana is if, like, when the kids have left, like when the kids are at uni and stuff and it's just you and your partner and you've just got a free fucking house, and that's when you get into like gardening and sowing and dogging. But like part of the gardening, I just be like, you know what, I've done it. I've done my shift. Like they're all off at university or they're all off doing their dreams. They're all adults, and I've now finished my shift.
You've got your greenhouse.
I've got my fucking greenhouse.
Old man's got his greenhouse.
I'd love that.
It would be nice. It would be real mindfulness as well.
Because like with the weed stuff, the weed we smoke now, it's, I mean, don't get me wrong, I fucking love it. It's the pen stuff. You just buy the tips that's all shipped over from America, and you have those. But there's still, like, to me, there's a really chemical side of marijuana. Even though I know it's filtrated down and it's all fucking fine, it's still, like, it's too close to e-cigarettes for me. And even when everyone goes, e-cigarettes are healthy, and I'm like, they're not. We just don't know how bad they are yet. There's been no 20-year study on e-cigarettes yet, because e-cigarettes haven't existed for 20 years.
See also protein and Wi-Fi.
Aye. Like, remember, doctors used to recommend cigarettes, and then 50 years later, we saw what 50 years of smoking did to people, and now doctors no longer recommend fucking cigarettes. So, like, with the chemical marijuana stuff, I'm always just like, is this vaping? Am I going to give myself fucking popcorn lung or whatnot? Whereas, just marijuana in your back garden, that's never killed anyone. After
vaping all lockdown, did you feel like a bit of a hipster this week when I brought some green?
Loved it. Well, man, I say it to Cara, because, like, dude, like, I'm absolutely addicted to marijuana. It's a very, very minor thing to be addicted to. Like, it's not debilitating. It doesn't overly affect my life, but I'd like for it not.
That's very brave of you to say, because you really set your stall out at one point about not being able to get addicted to marijuana.
I know. I fully. Well, to be fair, marijuana itself is not addicted, but you can become addicted to anything. Addiction's not. A substance or a thing doesn't have to in itself be inherently addictive. You can have an addictive personality and get addicted to fucking weird shit. It's just how we work. So, even though marijuana's not addictive, not being sober during a pandemic is very addictive. Mm-hmm. Like, get it out of your fucking like headspace there. But I don't know, I just think it just feels more natural if it's weed. Like, if it's, because when you gave me that stuff, I was saying to Cara, because every week I say to her, I think I'm going to stop this week, or I'll like try and cut it back. I'll do it one day a week. And then you brought in weed, and I could just smell like legitimate marijuana, and I just looked her dead in the eyes. I was like, I can never give this up. Like, it's my favourite.
Like giving her blowjobs. It's one of the things I like.
I should definitely do it less. Right, if Cara sucked my dick every day, constantly, it would get raw. It would be bad for her health, probably. Like, there'd be other fucking side effects.
I don't think so. Like, I think you'd love it.
No, man, your sixth wank of a day is sore and a necessary part.
Per day, you mean?
Aye.
Oh, right. If you got more than one blowjob a day,
there must be a limit to how many blowjobs you can get a day.
A second blowjob would be arduous for her.
Aye.
Like, real arduous.
Aye. And like, also very, very ungrateful. It's like, you know what? I know you think you did it right, but go back and do it again.
It would be a real marathon the second round, like.
Aye. But what? It might not be from the same person though. Like, would you? What's if you were? Obviously, this is in the world where we're not in a relationship. How many separate blowjobs could you get in a day before the novelty wore off?
Consecutive blowjobs
from different peeps.
Like, just how long could you live in a constant state of blowjob? Oh, because you'd need reload time.
You cool down.
You need your cool down.
Aye, you need to fill up the fucking...
Because otherwise you're just going to feel like you need a piss. You have to just keep on going after.
But how many blowjobs could you get during the day before you were like, ugh, another one?
I think, like, if you're not thinking about the end goal, it would be like, how many massages could you have? It would be like, in that kind of like, you get, all right, this is an overindulgence now. I've just been lying getting a back rub the whole time. It's like the therapeutic, like, nature of it. And the end's class. But just getting like, canny while.
Aye. So yeah, I think 3.
It would start getting into the realm of like back rub or head rub.
Aye, and then once you got, if you get 3, and this goes for lick outs, ladies, whatever you're into. I guess not. Maybe it is. Depends how because obviously lick outs take longer in general. I think to bring them to. From my experience, every time I've sucked a dick, he's come way faster than I've...
But I really know what I'm doing down there.
Aye. But I think if you're just getting your fanny munched constantly, maybe you wouldn't.
That would be an interesting one, because you wouldn't necessarily need reload time for fanny munch.
Because they can have multiple ones.
Aye.
Whereas they just sort of keep going, and you're like, right, that's you. I don't have to do this for another week now. Those are your... Store those up like a camel.
That's a belt, that to be able to do multiples. Like, that's a superpower, that.
Aye.
That's an absolute superpower. Imagine, like, them times, especially when you're single and you're on, like for the first time with someone, and you want to be impressive.
Aye.
But, like, your body's a bit more eager than you'd like it to be.
Always.
It'll be built up. You could just go and fucking. I've got about 5 more where they came from, baby.
Aye. Well, because that's the thing, is you'd always just be like, look, give me my first one for free, and the next 2 will be good. But sometimes you're like, they give you the first one for free, and you're like, actually, that's all I had in stock. Sorry, I'm a sofa company. I didn't actually have anything in the back there. That was just that was my one load. Whoopsie daisy.
You can get another one in October. I had a lot more bounce back ability than I do now. I mean, I probably, you know what it is? I probably still have got bounce back ability to go for a second one. I just haven't got as much motivation to go again. I could.
What, for you eat? Wait, we're talking about blowjobs or eating fanny?
No, like after having sex.
Aye.
When I'm finished, right? Whereas, like, when you were in your early 20s or whatever, mid-20s, you could turn that into a marathon sesh where you, like, just lie in bed, watch a few fucking TV.
And then go back at it,
Aye. I was like, I probably could do that. I just haven't got the drive.
Aye. Just like, this is... Well, because I think it's, like... But when you were young and you were doing that was like you were someone that you probably weren't going to spend the rest of your life
you reckon it's because, like, you didn't know when it was going to come round again?
But it was like a fling. You knew this was like either a 1 month thing or a 2 night thing, a 3 month thing, or just a fuck buddy situation. Yeah. And you were like, I know, we both know, right, that even though this is fun, that there's no future in this, right? But the sex is really good, so we'll just have as much as that as possible. Where it's the opposite, well, not the opposite when you're in a relationship, but it's like, I enjoy your company all the time, and we'll have sex when I can be arsed. Pardon pun.
If me and Natalie went like we did at the start, we'd both be so skinny. We wouldn't have read half as many books.
Aye.
We're getting nothing done.
Aye, me and Cara would still be hiding it. sneaking round to each other's houses. Well, to be fair, she did the sneaking. I was bragging about it from the start. She was like, "We need to keep this subtle," and I was like, "That was like a really good idea for you. So you keep it
subtle. We're running different circles."
Yeah. I'm going to be telling a lot of people about this because I do feel class. So
I mean, even tell some strangers from stage. I've got this podcast.
Aye, I'll say it out there. I'm sorry, I have to.
Look, I'll call you Pig. I'll name you after a farm animal.
No, but because they say that it's a compliment, baby. They say pigs are as smart as dogs.
No, I'm not saying you're a dog. Oh, right, I'm saying you're a dog.
Speaking of dogs, Milo's one.
Milo's dog
is the smallest dog I've ever encountered in my life.
I've got to put it there. I love it.
It's a good dog.
I've known it a day, and I love it, and I shouldn't.
Because it's every bad thing about it. It's everything. If you were to ask me before I met this dog, what do I not consider a dog?
I hated it from a photo.
Yes, aye.
Preconceived judgment on that dog. It won me over in seconds.
It's a Shih Tzu, but it's a Shih Tzu which is already a small dog that's the runt of the litter. So it's an even smaller than normal Shih Tzu. And my stance is always, if I can kick your dog over a fence, it's not a fucking dog.
And you easily could with that. Like
I can kick over fucking 2 fences.
I could Rabona that dog over the fence.
You could do keepy uppies with that, and the only thing that would stop you would be the children crying. It wouldn't be. You wouldn't get tired. You wouldn't get bruised on your knees or your shins.
I've got your jeans would need washed. That would hold you back. You're like, I'm on the road, I haven't got a second pair of jeans.
Right. If the thing I used to always say on the show is, if I put your dog on one end of a skateboard and I stamp on the other end of the skateboard, if your dog dies from the fall, it's not a fucking dog. And
but if your dog goes into orbit, that's Milo's dog.
Aye.
Milo's dog will go. What do you say? It doesn't weigh 2 kilograms yet.
Oh, Jesus Christ, aye.
It's built like a squirrel.
And normally with these dogs, the reason they're not dogs is because they're small, they're shit, and they don't know they're small and shit, and they just fucking yap, or they're fucking handbag dogs. Like, I've got an auntie, I love her very dearly. She'll admit this is herself. She's a little bit loopy, and she's got a fucking handbag dog. She keeps it in there. She fucking wipes its arse with wet wipes. And I'm like, I'm glad you're happy. That's not a dog, and you're a crazy person. She's like, yep, fine. That's normally small fucking dogs are yappy, horrible, gross little things.
Yeah.
Man, this one is like...
They're always quite angry. They've got like kind of Napoleon complex, haven't they?
Yeah, aye. Like, because they don't know their own size. They're like, I'm a dog, I'm a fucking wolf. Like, they don't know how much we fucked them through evolution. Like, in the back of their minds, they're like, I used to be a wolf. You need to treat me like a wolf. And we'll just treat them like little fucking teddy bears.
Like, they're trying to claim the pack.
But this one does... Man, it is just like...
If somebody cast a spell on a teddy bear and brought it to life,
aye.
And it's the fucking... It just wants cuddles, it doesn't yap on, it'll make like little noises from time to time, but
all you have to do...
It's not an attention seeker.
No, you just pick it up, and because it weighs literally less than 2 kilos, it's... Man, you put it in your fucking pocket.
Aye.
If you're wearing a big enough hoodie, you shove it in there, and it's just a fucking sideways kangaroo pocket. It's just like, this is class.
I just found myself just scooping her up while I'm chatting away, and just like having a little like shuffle on with it, like just giving it, what do you call them, where you rub the top of the head?
Noogie.
He's a girl. So I Coco, put me pal. I was like, this is like, aye, two worlds collide here, and we'll get along.
Very, very impressive. I mean, you who famously hates dogs.
I don't famously hate dogs. You can't expect us to love your dog if it's shite.
Aye, and
we've just described loads of shite dogs. I kind of just because you love your dog, like I only see its imperfections.
Yeah, I don't. It's the gall of people who don't train their dogs to expect you to love their dogs. Like, their dog comes into your house, jumps up on your furniture, or if you're outside, right, and it's just been fucking muddy and it just jumps up in your front of somebody, you go like, oh, he loves you, and you go, I fucking hate him. Could you train that so I can love this dog? It's not my fault I don't like your dog. It's not the dog's fault I don't like your dog. It's your fault I don't like your dog because you haven't trained your fucking dog.
I like domestic dogs.
Dogs that know their place. Dogs that know their dogs. Dogs that aren't considered to be fur babies. Dogs that aren't treated like human beings. Dogs that are treated like subservient species, which is what they are.
But I cannot get over the fact that Milo, from time to time, has to go and walk that dog on his own. He's 6'3".
Man, does he need to walk it? Because look at
about 200 kilos of lean.
How far would you?
200 kilos, 200 pounds.
How far away would you say that fence down there was?
Oh yeah. To be fair, if he's walking that dog, he's
that's 3 miles to that dog.
If he's walking that dog, he's thirsty and he doesn't need to leave the house.
Like, that dog is so small that this garden is big enough that you make it do 2 laps and it'll be exhausted. It's not like Gareth's dog, which is you could put Gareth's dog on a treadmill for 75 minutes and then take it off and it would be like, alright, when we go for a walk. Mm-hmm. This one, just too small.
Yeah, because you'd just be able to take that garden. See, that's the thing with that. Like, I'm still such a. I could have that dog. I couldn't be seen with it.
Yeah, that would be like, you know how you get house cats that just never go outside? That's a full-on house dog. That's like you play with it with the blinds closed. It's only like
that dog for me would be an absolute guilty pleasure.
Aye. No photos of it on your phone, just nothing, just like in a fucking hidden pocket in your wallet. That's the only image of it.
I'd have guests running, and you just hear a little yap coming from out of a closet. I was like, nothing, just misdirection with people and all that.
It's genuinely like Ray, my cat, is, I would say, 3 times the size of it, comfortably.
Easy.
Yeah.
And then some.
Yeah. Like, my cat could kill that dog.
We should set that up.
Aye, so this this should have been on the Patreon episode. That's where we do the dog fights. That's where we do
the dog v cats.
Aye, that's on Patreon.
Because everyone's like, oh, what would win between a tiger and a bear and stuff like that.
Aye.
Like, however, man, start realistic.
Yeah,
Start
what would win between a Shih Tzu and a Maine Coon? Like, these are the fights we want to see.
It would be so one-sided to Ray. That cat, Ray, is the perfect dog, and I've said it before. If I ever have a dog, I want it to be like your cat.
just a big fat slag.
If I ever have a child, I want it to be like your wife. If I have a flatmate, I want it to be like your dad.
Aye, she's got the... And she's done a good thing, man. I mean, I know Cara will be right at what I'm about to say because she always claims that I jinxed this, but it's been very nice of Ray not to die yet.
Did I tell you I nearly bought a tombstone for her?
No, you nearly tombstoned her.
I nearly tombstoned her. Yep, through a table. The TLC match. Tables, ladders and cats.
Tender love and care match. Doesn't sound like it. Why'd you put it through a fucking table?
That wrestling, like, you watch a TLC match and watch Rikishi do a stink face.
Well, first of all, Rikishi was never in a TLC match.
Was he not?
Why? TLC matches were
Tables,
not...
ladders and chairs.
Aye, but they weren't exclusively for the thing.
The Hardy Brothers and the Dudley Boys.
The Hardy Boys. Hardy Boys.
You go on MySpace. Oh, no, that wasn't the correct one. My face.
Aye. Edge and Christian. And then... Who was it? Because those were the three. It was... Edge and Christian, Dudley Boys, Hardy Boys, and then there was a fourth. I feel like it might have been fucking Undertaker and Kane, because they became a tag team for a bit.
They weren't in the TLC matches.
They were in some of them. They absolutely were.
They were like different weight divisions. Do they have cross weight divisions in wrestling?
Aye.
Oh my god.
Aye.
Shenanigans.
Do you not see?
That's unfair.
You know, see when Rey Mysterio fought the fucking Big Show?
I saw the Big Show versus Floyd Mayweather.
Oh, really? Who won?
There's nobody he won't fight.
Oh, man. And imagine how much... I mean, don't get me wrong, Floyd Mayweather's records is already very, very impressive. Can you imagine how much more impressive his record would be if
you boxers?
If you counted the YouTube stars and if you counted all the women he's beaten up, he must be on like 75, 80 at this point.
Hundreds.
Aye. He is just a treacherous cunt of a man. Like, it's such a shame that he had to be the best at something, since he's such a to his core evil bad man.
It's such a shame because I love the fight game, I really do, but it just attracts the worst.
Which isn't surprising, considering
but I wish it was just more of an art form. And
you wish more UFC fighters were just like Jojo Calderwood.
Yes.
Like she is one of the best. I mean, she's got a title shot coming up soon. I'm pretty sure.
Has she? Good on her.
I am. I'm pretty fucking because the next UFC, I've not watched UFC in ages, but the next card has both Jojo and Paul Craig on, and I'm absolutely watching Paul Craig.
Great. I've got to tap him up with us being in Glasgow for...
Man, he's his man, that was an open invite he put out here. Like he was...
I met him at the Playhouse gig, and we were talking about it, and I hadn't had any plans of moving up then, so he was just like, if you're in the area, I'm like, I live in the area, I knew, like, I should probably take him up on that.
I'll message him on Insta, get his number, because I changed phone a while ago.
We should get him on this.
Get
him on this for a bonus. And you know what else we should do? We should, because we were talking to Lewis Capaldi about jumping on a podcast before it was even like regular.
Lewis has taken at least for a while he took a sabbatical from social media.
Did he? Because I was going to say I hadn't seen much from him in a while, but I thought like with everyone being like that, like that, we should have tapped him up on that.
You can remember like Lewis became like famous overnight. Well, not overnight. It was over the course of a couple of months, but it was from fucking little kid in Bathgate to international. Like he got number one in. Did he get number one in America? I'm pretty sure he did. America's Sweetheart.
He went global. That would have been proper overwhelming for him.
Horrific,
like,
man.
If you think, I've
had incremental success on the way to like Z-list celebrity status,
and even stress you were under in the infamous Hong Kong episodes.
But I can't imagine what it must be like from that fucking perspective. Like younger, you know. And more famous, more fucking instantly.
Aye.
And also for an actual.
And he's probably getting like tapped up all the time to do stuff. So if we can try and chap on his door and go, "Hey, how do you want to?" When he's Sloss and Humphreys on the road,
Aye.
We've got we hit 300 on Patreon.
I will get you. No, we'll plug your album at the end of it if you want. Maybe you go. Maybe you go platinum, mate.
I see your tour dates and all that. They're quite loyal, these lot.
They do come. They come to a lot of them. We'll get you on the Patreon one though. That is
we'll follow you on social media. I mean, they even follow Elliot and stuff, and that's just blind loyalty. That.
Cab James was telling me that when we were doing Two Woke Cucks, he's like, it is surprising how many people do listen to. He's like, it's one of the second things he gets sort of credit for. People like, when's the next Two Woke Cucks coming out? He's like, you know, that's not my podcast, right?
He's done Finding Drago, and like he's done absolutely hit stuff.
He's got a great one with Alexia Tolopoulos as well, not just Finding Drago, their movie one.
It's funny when people know you for the thing that you don't assume to be known for.
Aye.
Like when someone chatted me up and they chatted us up, it was just a bloke being nice. Someone tapped us up in the toilets in a nightclub in Aberdeen because he reads me blog.
Oh, you're like, alright, okay.
You do the News for Dummy blog.
Are you Daniel Sloss from Muff? I'll kill you. I'll break your legs where you stand. Not for long.
Where were you going there?
When?
You're just I think I distracted you. You are.
No, probably.
Nah, I do that.
Also, we don't always have to get back to train of thoughts because I know people get annoyed when we go.
I try to keep myself accountable for that.
Aye, but I've also not got. I think the reason if I lose thread, I just count it as one part of my subconscious being like, mate, it was boring. While you were distracted there, I actually read over what you were going to say.
Good save.
I shredded it actually.
Good save.
Just your brain being like, man, you were about to say something that you've definitely said before, and also you were about to half remember something you heard and pass it off as your own information, and somebody would have held you accountable to it later on. So I've just replayed 30-second clips of Simpsons in your head. How's that? Oh, thanks, man. What were we talking about?
On that note, I'm going to start a topic of conversation that we'll always bring up and always have to steer away from before we lose followers. I got to watch you win a Champions League final.
Aye.
On Saturday night.
Aye, that's why this podcast is late. Obviously Chelsea made it through to the Champions League final, which was on Saturday.
In the odds on favourites to lose.
Oh man, it was Man City who were a really, 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 really good team. They walked really fucking
like
hard.
The absolute team of a generation, Man City, and they had everyone fully fit.
Fucking Phil Foden, annoyingly one of the greatest English football players already. Fucking Sergio Aguero, aye, and we went to Matty's to watch the match, and I will say of all I give Matty a lot of shit, but I will give him absolute props for this. He'd let a Chelsea fan, his mortal enemy, come round to his house, watch the Champions League, and man, there was many times when I was stressed where he could have made my day a lot worse and annoyed me and wound me up. And
despite the way you were throughout the Colombia game, when he was trying to watch England.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, to be fair, we don't know how he would have reacted had Man City equalised. Like, we can live in a fantasy world of Matty's fucking kindness, but we just don't know yet, right? It's the same thing I said to both of you, because, man, I was so fucking stressed throughout that entire football match.
Oh, you started accusing me of jinxing it, Daniel.
You fucking did jinx it, but you didn't, because technically we still won it.
I honestly don't have superpowers. I can't tell Natalie this enough. I do not have godlike omnipotence.
I just don't know why you'd... Jinxing is a thing, though.
It's that you know you're accusing us of casting a spell.
No. I'm accusing you of because I'll remember it, right? Had they just lost and you not said anything, then I would have just blamed it on my team being shite.
Can you jinx it if you don't have a horse in the race? Because the whole thing about it is pride comes before a fall. You're celebrating too early, and then it comes back and bites you. It's like it's.
I was not celebrating it apart from obviously the Kai Havertz goal, but for the rest of that match,
my I guess I was on the right side of the fence because I was starting to speculate how brilliant it was that Mason Mount's going to have a Champions League medal.
Aye.
And that Reece James is going to have a Champions League medal, and like he's been unbeatable down that side.
He was unbelievable,
and you were like, you're fucking jinxing it, man. I'm like, no, up until this point he's been unbeatable down that side.
Aye.
You were getting so worked up.
And then we won, and we deserved it. And we will end this football chat in about 3 minutes' time. But one thing I do want to say: how small is Arsenal?
It's a tin pot club.
What a tiny little
club. They're not in Europe.
Not in Europe. In the past 10 years, Chelsea have won 4. Count that, 4 European trophies.
They're going to have to sell some players because they don't need a squad that big. Aye. So they need to get. They're actually a tin pot club that needs to get smaller.
Aye, yeah, like man, Arsenal is such a small club that like the board, their tactic is this entire season: let's get smaller. That's what we are.
And what they're going to do to any Arsenal fans out there listening, Sid, I'm talking to you.
Yeah, Sid and Matty in 3 months.
They're gonna keep the manager who got them into that position because he won the FA Cup the year he took over with somebody else's team. And that's enough about football.
That's enough about football. London is blue.
You were really happy.
I was.
It was nice to watch, actually. I was like, that's somebody watching their team win a Champions League final. It was good to see. I've never watched it before. The one time I've been with somebody when they won a Champions League final, their team, was Matty when Arsenal lost because they're a tiny club. It was a very different occasion. Like, it was very much a there.
Was that Barca? Was that
Barcelona,
the fucking... Yeah. Aye. Was it 2-1, 3-1?
2-1.
Aye, and Arsenal scored first as well, which makes it all the more beautiful.
I think there was a sending off.
Aye, there was. I watched the... We'll stop talking about football. We'll not.
Right,
but we've got nothing else to talk about.
We've done like a 5-minute bracket there. That's all we'll ever do. We'll never take it more than 5 minutes. But we'll let it. We'll get them into football. We'll wean them into it.
I don't think.
I'll start with Natalie. It's football mad in my house.
Well, aye. Well, she's getting into it. Cara's slowly getting into it. Just sort of tricked my deal with her was if Chelsea win anything, you have to. I'll buy a Chelsea shirt and you have to wear it. And Cara's stance on it is very fairly. Her one is absolutely, but just as long as you're aware, when we have kids, they're not putting on football shirts until they're about 5 or 6. Like we're not going to be those fucking. I'm going to put my baby in a Celtic top. Ugh, come on, man.
Aye.
That's indoctrination. It's especially if it's fucking Rangers and Celtic.
I mean, I'd definitely default me kid to Newcastle.
Aye, like my kids would have to, well, not have to, but I would visibly support Chelsea in front of them, and it would be their choice. But I'm not chaving me fucking baby up from day one.
Aye, my kid would have to be trans team.
Aye,
like I'll default them to the team that they're born into.
They come out team neutral. They come out team neutral.
You're bringing your child into the world team neutral.
Yeah, but I've painted the nursery blue. Like it's not sort of what I want, but whatever they decide to be, I'll be happy with. But I'm definitely going to be like,
I think it's going to be important for me if I'm bringing a child into the world in Glasgow that I get on that train, go to Newcastle, teach them about the heritage and the ancestry, and go to the Newcastle game, so that they don't have to pick a team in Glasgow.
Yeah. Aye, it would be way easier to just deal with the fucking abuse of, you don't support Celtic, or why do you support an English team when you're Scottish, sort of shit, and you go, because I fucking hate every single one of you that forces me to have this conversation, that's why.
My dad's a Geordie feels like a good out in Scotland that people would understand.
Yeah, aye, that would be good. My kids will have no excuse though, you'll be like, why are you a Chelsea fan? Oh, my dad was a glory hunter 30 years ago. It's not me, I'm not a glory hunter. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a glory hunter by birth. So it's, he forced me into this. I didn't choose the club. Maybe just get them into rugby if it was a more interesting sport.
I feel like with rugby, you do spend a lot of time not really doing much. I suppose it depends where you play. I played out on the wing, and like some of them cold winters, like you're just fucking stood there shivering.
It looks really good out in Australia because like every time I go to Australia, rugby league is fucking mad out there, and I'm just like, man, I like sports in general. Like I could watch a basketball game quite happily if somebody was sat beside me and would just explain why a foul is a foul. I know what a 3-pointer is, right, and I know what a fucking free throw is, and I know all that shit. But I don't know the little fucking things that happen there. Whereas rugby in Australia just seems like really high intensity, way more so than any of the fucking stuff I see over here.
Have you got like? I don't feel like I've got capacity for another sport. I feel like the more I put into the UFC, the less I follow football. The more I follow football, the less I follow the UFC. And they're my two sports, and I feel like even now I don't have time for them both. Even when I've just had a year off, I feel like I don't have time to commit myself to both sports.
It's the fucking time difference, man. I would guarantee I would be a basketball fan.
That's huge. Staying up till 6 for a fight.
Shite. Staying up till fucking poor. Well, Cullen fucking stays up till 3 a.m. to watch American football. And I'm like, man, I'd love to get into American football, right? Because it's, it's high intensity, because it's for Americans. It's for the people with the shortest attention span in the world. So they had to make something happen all the fucking time. It's a good, intense fucking sport to watch. I'm not waking up at fucking 4 a.m. to watch sports. I'm just regularly, every week. Go fuck yourself. Not happening. Whereas if you were to move to America, that's the only way you'd ever sort of get into it.
Yeah, and it would be on at bars.
Yeah.
Like I live a sports bar, and I do love the sports bars in America, and I love the dive bars and all that. Like, I'd be much more inclined to go and drinking on an evening to watch sports in America.
I think
Nice weather all the time.
I think American sports fans, from talking to like Brad Scott and stuff, because he's massively into he's the Pacers, I'm pretty sure. I think it's his basketball team. But he was just like, man, all American sports fans are fucking horrible cunts. Aye. He's like, it's like on the surface it looks alright, but when you're in the stadium with a lot of them, it's just...
Because I found...
Well, sorry, but like the big ones, the huge fucking fans.
Right, because I found there was a massive improvement in fan quality in America for the UFC. I felt like when we watched it in Manchester, when we watched Machida in Manchester, everybody in the Manchester crowd thought they could fight.
Aye.
Everybody there thought they were should have been in the octagon.
Yeah. 100%.
And everybody thought they could do it better. Right, and there was just this bristling, there was a bloodlust going on in the crowd where people just had watched a fight and now they want their go.
Aye.
Right, like they've
monkey
got 20
see, monkey do.
Like they've got 20 pence on the pool table. They go and put their 20 pence on the octagon. In America, people are just there eating their popcorn, witnessing it.
Be like, I could never do this.
Yeah, this is amazing.
Yeah. I wouldn't need to. I own a rifle. At no point do I need this as self-defense. This is a spectacle because this doesn't happen on the streets here.
Yeah, I just did find that it was just a much more just a passive audience rather not even passive because they were getting into it and they were cheering. They were they were watching the sport without thinking that they could do it. Is what I'm saying.
I loved very, very briefly when a couple of World Cups ago America was doing quite well in it because I was in the States at the time and Americans were really getting into the fact that Clem Dempsey was scoring goals and they were through to the quarterfinals and stuff, and then all of that stuff was really, really I was like, this is exciting, the Americans are fucking getting it, and then they ruined it by the standard things. Offsides, just making it plural is the single most infuriating thing in the world to me. It's not a plural. It's offside. You're offside. It's not. You're offside once. It's not offsides. There's not. He's off one side. He's not offside on both sides. There's only one side he's off on. It's a fucking singular thing.
There's an onside. There's an offside.
Also,
he's on the offside.
That's why maths is plural. It's not math. Mathematics. It's plural. It remains fucking plural. The other one was
PKs.
Oh God! I fucking forgot about that, you wanker.
PK.
Oh, DK's taking a fucking PK. Not a fan of that. The other one is when it was America versus Portugal, right? And America were winning 1-0 for the longest fucking time, and Portugal equalised in the 92nd minute. And I had to try and explain to a room full of grown men and women in America why the game didn't end at 90 minutes. They're like, but the game should only last 90 minutes. And I was like, yeah, but he scored in the 92nd minute for extra time. But why was there extra time? because you cunts kept kicking the ball out of play when it was 1-0 up. No, like, but that's not fair. No, what you're doing is not fair. That's why trying to explain extra time to these people, because they don't stop the clock when the ball goes out of fucking play, and they can't fathom that for the life of them. Basketball ball goes out of play.
Do you mean injury time? Like, you mean why did you go on past 90?
Yes.
Not extra time.
No, not extra time. Why was there 3 minutes? Why was there 90 plus 3? I thought the game only ended at fucking 90, and you're like, no, there's...
Yeah, but you've been buying time, so like it's getting put on at the end.
Because you can't really... Well, I mean, you can buy time in basketball and hockey and these things, but they end the second the ball goes out of play, that's it, done. Like, there's stop the fucking clock, nothing really goes on. Is that true? Have I pulled that out of my arse? Who gives a shit?
So we're just as dumb about American sports, is what we're saying.
Aye.
On the other side of it, we can't comprehend.
Yeah, aye.
I wouldn't feel right as well picking an American team to support.
Anyone for Eddie, I would. Any team from Colorado. Favourite state.
I do like Colorado.
You'd do San Diego. You'd support a San Diego team.
San Diego was a good time.
San Diego's a fucking beautiful city.
I shoplifted a fucking bike when I was high on my own in San Diego.
Did you?
Not a bike, one of them scooters.
Aye.
Someone had went to the shop and I was like trying to get a scooter going, and then someone pulled up and went to the shop and I was like, oh, I'll use this one. I went to like buzz onto that one because I couldn't get mine working.
Yeah.
And it was already running. And I was like, but I do want to get out the park and I haven't got much time. I'm fanning on looking for a scooter here. Yeah. I just went off on their ticket. They kept the engine running for ages on it.
Did they?
Aye.
It was just one point when you were going along and it just went...
I just powered down when they realised and disconnected from the app. I was in the middle of Balboa Park and I just ground to a halt. I was like, I got further than I thought. Because you didn't come run there with us, did you?
No, I was doing a bunch of podcasts that day, so I just couldn't. I was doing it from the hotel room. I can't remember I can't remember who the podcast was.
Because I didn't have time to go to the zoo, but I did have time to go and run Balboa Park, because that's the zoo off Madagascar, isn't it? I think it is. I think the film Madagascar was filmed.
Aye, it was filmed at San Diego Zoo, but the animals were from like other zoos. Like they obviously.
In San Diego, we drove past the pub from Top Gun where they sung that song.
I watched Top Gun not that long ago. What an appallingly shit movie.
Is it bad?
Oh, one of the worst things I've ever seen in my fucking life.
That was a proper banger that at the time.
Oh, but again...
I watched that several times as a kid.
It's piping hot shit.
Like, I wanted to be a fighter pilot me.
It's a movie for the same reason that The Great Gatsby is considered a great book, was because it was written at a time when there were only 7 other books in the world, so of course it was a top 10 fucking book. Like, Top Gun came out and was considered a top movie because movies hadn't really done anything great then. Like, it was the best of that bunch.
Had they had any other movies where there was, like, fucking jet planes just fucking whizzing around shooting at stuff? Like, is that what it was? It's like, that's the first time you've seen that on a screen.
I can't even remember much
footage here.
I instantly repressed the movie. Like, my brain, I'm a big movie fan, love watching fucking movies, can recall a lot of scenes, recall a lot of fucking actors. You could tell me people that were in Top Gun, no idea. I've fully deleted.
Hold on. So if you'd never seen Top Gun before, did the penny drop for you when you went, oh, that's why you say you're goosed when you're fucked? Oh, I'm goosed. It's because Goose went through the fucking... He ejected straight into the glass, didn't he, and it didn't break? Yeah.
Well, man, I think... I can't remember many of my thought processes, because, again, much like when I was... You know, that part of my brain when we forget what we're saying, and it's just my brain being dead silent and just deleting the boring bits of conversation I was about to have. My brain did the same thing with this movie. Like, there is nothing in that for you, so we'll just delete that.
So wait a minute, you didn't think it was the coolest thing on earth when Iceman said, Maverick, you can be my wingman anytime, and Maverick went, no, you can be mine.
No.
You didn't think that was the coolest thing that ever happened on television? Iceman and Maverick having a bit of banter with who was each other's wingman.
Iceman and Maverick, like, is that the fucking sequel to Batman and Robin Forever? Like the fucking sequel to the George Clooney,
as well.
The one that nobody asked for? Nah. Piping wet hot shit, so fucking... And I guarantee you, thank God Nelson doesn't listen to this podcast, because otherwise that was another seizure for him there.
Do you think he's big on Top Gun? Or do you think
when was it made? If it was made in the 80s or 90s, then yes.
Early 90s, I'm going to say.
Then yes, it's one of his favourite fucking movies, and he'll not be able to admit that it does not stand the test of time, and that and I was just shite, man.
What other movies are there from that generation? My mum and dad love Officer and a Gentleman. And that's a film I've had to watch a bunch of times. And
Is that the bit where he comes in at the end and he lifts her up?
Love lifts us up where we belong. Way to go, Paula. Way to go. But watching it back now as an adult, that guy's a fucking jerk, man.
No, he's a gentleman.
He's never a gentleman.
What about Kai? He's a gentleman. I've not seen it because
I just find he doesn't have many redeeming features. And that's a bit of a you've seen what his past was and all that, and he didn't have an easy life, and then that's how he becomes. But I didn't even find it I just was I just like this guy in the beginning, the middle, and the end. The whole character arc is about a character who I think's a dickhead. and we're steered to love him by the power ballads.
I'm trying to think if there are any other movies that people think are classics that are actually just genuinely...
I couldn't bring myself to go back and watch Friday because I've immortalised that film in my head as the best film ever.
Oh, yeah.
The funniest. And what a buzz when he beats up Debo at the end. Spoiler alert.
Aye.
And Chris Tucker's like, you got knocked the fuck out.
I don't think I've seen it.
I can't imagine it being any good at all. Even when I think about the lines that were comedy lines, I'm like, actually, that was a catchphrase.
Catchphrase fucking...
I think it's just... I think because I was just a little wee muggle, I liked repeating stuff that was really repeatable.
Aye.
There's so much repeat. Hey, Miss Parker, we're going to be fucked, Miss Parker. It's fucking...
that was the only reason why Little Britain was ever popular, was it was just things people could fucking repeat. Peter says no.
I think it was that, and that's I kind of because I got so much joy out of that. Like you could put it on like a music album. Like it didn't matter like if you were chatting or if you left the room or come back in. I would just have the movie Friday on in the background. Like fucking Ice Cube was just the coolest person on the fucking planet then.
I'll tell you what does stand the test of time.
Still is.
Well, he's been in a bunch of rom-coms and...
He's cool in them.
He sure is. Me and Cullen watched Austin Powers the other week. Austin Powers 2. And I absolutely think it stands up to the fucking test of time. But then I'm also just got this worry in my head now. Am I just doing what my dad did to me with fucking Airplane? And I did watch Airplane. I enjoyed Airplane. Cara fucking hated it.
In that case, my one would be probably Hot Shots. So, you would have probably been the same age for Austin Powers as I was for Hot Shots.
Is that the table tennis one?
Was it Charlie Sheen? Hot Shots Part 2 was where you had the chicken and the bow and arrow.
I don't think I've seen that.
It's based on Rambo and all that. It's
that is Charlie Sheen, yes. Yeah. But I've not seen it. I don't know it. It's one of those fucking spoof movies.
That's mad. I just don't understand because I'd never seen Platoon. And Platoon, fucking what a movie, by the way. I can't believe I'd bypassed that until I was 37.
I think I've seen it.
Willem Dafoe's fucking mint in it. But Charlie Sheen's in Platoon, isn't he? So for him to be in the spoof of that type of movie as well as that type of movie, he's literally doing a caricature of himself.
And he's doing that every day now.
Every day.
I wonder what he's up to. I wonder if he's still going out with those two girls and doing the most amount of cocaine that has ever been.
Man, that mixtape of what do you call it? A mashup of his interview, to a beat, Winning.
Yeah. Tiger Blood. That
holds up as a banger. It's a joke song. It's a parody song made up of samples from his interview. But I would have just listened to that if I didn't know about the interview. I'd never seen him in the I'd never seen him before, and it was just a song in the charts. I would be fucking.
Do you reckon he must be? Do you reckon he's clean now? Is that why we've not heard of him? Heard from him even? Just because he's...
I think he's sorting his act out. I think Gaza has,
Spoken like a true fucking England fan.
He just walked off. mentioned one thing about an England legend. And Rangers legend.
Good, make him worse.
He went on Italian television and he just looked fresh and he spoke to the host in Italian, done a few kick-ups, fumbled a few kick-ups.
Aye.
And he just looked like oh look, there's Gaza, not oh look, there's Gaza who fucking rocked up to Raoul Moat's funeral.
Oh, here we go. Right, so let's take this with a pinch of salt. This is a Mirror article. This is about Charlie Sheen now.
Dated.
Charlie Sheen was once one of the biggest stars in... Oh, in Hollywood, but it all unravelled in 2011 when an HIV diagnosis sent him into a dangerous spot. Oh, is that why he was on the gear? Because he was HIV positive?
I don't know. Is that is that what people do when they're HIV? Just kind of fuck it.
Well, I mean, back in the 2000. Well, yeah, I mean, it's kind of a.
Because really treatable now.
Yeah, but was it treatable in 2011? I don't think it's like really.
Is that when he had HIV? Is that when the fucking winning song was? 2011?
2011.
Oh my fucking god, 10 years have passed. Oh man.
A recap stated nothing to help him, and after being released, he promptly demanded a 50% pay rise and branded boss Chuck Lower a stupid little man and a pussy punk that I'd never want to be like. Well, and apparently, I think he's just doing cameos now, which suggests things are not going well.
Aye, I've done cameos for lockdown.
We've all been there.
I feel you, Charlie.
Aye, but yours wasn't so much a fall from grace.
It's just I never had grace.
Aye.
I enjoyed doing mine, man. It made people happy.
I just had nice.
Brought them a little bit of joy. People doing them for their mates.
Aye. But it was a lockdown thing, much like Twitch.
I mean, I'm still going to do Twitch when I'm back home. I really enjoy doing it. I really enjoy the community that we've built, and it's still going to be ongoing. So people can follow Shirley Button. Is going to be doing crafts on my time slot, so that everyone can get together still. Oh. Like I like what was made in lockdown. As much as it was a lockdown thing, I would like to keep it going.
Nah, that was the second I got to it. I enjoyed most of my time on Twitch, but it just became a job, and I already had a job that was way better.
You didn't really connect with people, did you? You didn't, because you could I've got just a nice enough amount of people that I can try to keep up with the comments. I normally get halfway through and then I have to scroll a bit, but at least I can reach people. People get connected with when I'm on it, because I'm actually mentioning them, I'm mentioning what they're saying, and it builds this synergy. Whereas I've popped on and watched you, your chat would just flood off the screen before you had a chance to read it. So people are still just in the ether watching you.
Aye, nah. I mean, the second I got to a fucking studio, I was like, oh, that's me done with that then. Aye. Now that this is back, now my actual job's here. And the thing that I'm actually fucking good at is back. I'm not going to fucking retrain or relearn something else. Because that's the thing, you can be, if you put the fucking effort into Twitch, you can be fucking exceptional at it. You can be really good. That's why Limmy's so good at it. That's why Gareth's really good at it. That's why you've got these people who, Roscoe McClellan, you put all this effort in when you're not on stream to make the stream as good as possible when you are. The second I stopped streaming, I wasn't willing to put a fucking shred of effort into it.
Yeah, you didn't want to make any extra scenes. Nope. You didn't want to make any trinkets.
Couldn't fucking be. I don't like, man, I really don't like, don't like computers. I don't have a computer brain, and I can't fucking be arsed.
And when you're playing a computer game, you want to be concentrating on it.
Yeah, I can't multitask, man.
I'm really I love playing computer games. I've just been playing Resident Evil there. I had a fucking great time. If I was streaming that, I would have paused it about 100 times to chat. I feel too compelled to entertain with what I'm saying rather than what I'm doing. I can't bring myself to just have a moment where, even if there's a cutscene. I played a game that had a lot of cutscenes. I couldn't help but talk over the cutscenes.
Aye, not paying attention.
And that's not what Twitch is. Twitch is they're watching you play the game.
It's a platform where you can do whatever you want with it, but I don't want to do anything with it. So
I'd never mastered the game and all it. But I did R-rate a chat and shit for an hour.
You either have to be really funny or really
one-man podcast driven by comments. That's all it is.
Aye. Online busking.
Yeah, that's you found that really undignifying, didn't you?
I just didn't like the money aspect of it. I just felt I just didn't like thanking people for fucking money. Didn't like asking for money during a fucking pandemic. Didn't like, and also not to be a dick about it, but not money I'm used to. It's I just...
you're taking a massive pay cut to put way more energy in.
Way more energy into something that didn't fulfill me a shred.
Yeah.
So, good riddance, I say. But,
on that note, I've nicked your stream deck.
Have you?
Do you want it back?
No, not at all.
I just borrowed it while you were away. I was we'll have this conversation when you're back.
No, that's absolutely yours. If you want anything else that I used to use for it, I'm not.
Because I'm still going to go on. I like it. I'd miss everybody.
I also just, man, I don't like people having... It was just an extra fucking window into my life, and I don't like that at all. I don't want people having that extra fucking layer of connection with me. I don't like being that open and fucking vulnerable with people in that aspect. Like,
I have to be a shut avenue for you, because people, like, and generally the people that are willing to go the extra mile to speak to you are probably the people that you least want to speak to.
Yeah.
And if you, like, I'll sometimes, like, open my Instagram or other messages, and it'll start with, like, could you tell Daniel?
No,
and I'm
don't
like,
tell.
Nah, I'm not his PA.
Yeah, I don't. I specifically do not. I'm sure you've sent me lovely messages, and I'm very, very fucking grateful for all the kinds of things that you say. I cannot read them. It's not good for my mental health. I'll read all of them. It'll go in my head. I'll feel responsible for people's emotions, and it's just not healthy for me. So I don't care, because if I do care, I'll care too much. And it's not good. So it's way easier for me to just cut off all fucking communication unless it's on stage, this fucking podcast, or after shows if I'm in the mood to meet people.
I think I'm at just a nice level where I can have time for people without it being too much.
Also, I'm a miserable bastard, man. I don't like, man. But see,
you'd have to falsify that energy. Whereas it's an energy that comes quite naturally to us for us to have. Just like, even if it's muggle banter with someone.
Aye.
Like, I'm alright. I'm there for that.
I'm just not. It's like, you know, anytime somebody tries to... I've always hated that phrase, strangers are just friends you've not met yet. I fully fucking disagree. Friends are strangers that I ran through the fucking mill. Right, they're people who I went, you've got to meet all this mental criteria in my head to be my fucking mate, or I'm not interested in you.
And you're always on probation.
Aye. And I've got my mates. And don't get me wrong, sometimes you get a new mate and it's very, very fucking exciting. You're like, oh, new buddy, this is great. And then...
they need to be impactful in episode 1.
Yeah. But I'm not looking for new connections.
No.
I've got 3. Your dad throws Maltesers up in the air, does a handstand, and tries to catch them in his arse.
Is he very successful?
I don't know. I don't watch when he asks. Like, he explained the concept to me. And
does he try to ask it in child's way? Dan, watch.
Yeah, Dan,
watch.
Dan, I'll do it in a kilt.
Watch.
Dan.
Your dad has a bookshelf that moves when you pull one of the books out, but it only moves to reveal a wall with a David Beckham poster.
Well, at least he's ashamed of it. As long as he's ashamed of it, that's absolutely fine. Your dad puts his own drawings up on the fridge.
They're really good.
They're not. Yours are better. But he just did. It's just like, get your own fridge.
I'm still drawing a picture. I'm still like trying. One day I'll get the spot.
Aye,
He's like, that's very good, son, but I mean, come on. I've seen this one I made.
Aye. That's a cat. Blue cat. When was the last time you saw one of them? Never. Imagination, Kai. It's key to the process.
And also only having blue crayons.
Aye, I ate all the red ones.
That's really limited. Yeah, your dad laces his dress shoes around the bottom like they're football boots.
Aye, because you never know what
tapes them up.
Yeah,
electric tape.
You never know when you're going to be walking home from a wedding and a kid's going to kick a ball across the park. It's going to fall to your feet, and you've got to nail that kick back. Otherwise,
nail it. Or if he doesn't kick the ball and it's still at his feet, you've got to nail that tackle, man.
Aye, I got him.
Even if you tackle out of the man, you've just got to make sure you get a foot on the ball.
Yeah, be like, I was going for the ball. And it's like, aye, with your left foot, but I did see your right foot clock his chin.
Aye, you followed through.
Shut yourself. Your dad doesn't take sugar in his coffee, but he is partial to a jelly cube.
In his coffee? I want to try that and see what happens.
Oh man, do you?
Kinda.
I reckon it's, well...
I think it would be nicer in tea, I think it would get nicer with a tea with milk in and a jelly cube.
Or maybe without the tea bag and just get a cup with some hot water and then
let it set.
And then in a fridge, aye.
Your dad keeps his toothbrush in his mouth like a lollipop as a fashion accessory.
Your dad watches Sesame Street with a fly swatter and whacks his cock whenever it twitches. No! Big Bird, no!
Oh no, Elmo's coming on, this is going to hit.
Don't say tickle me, don't say tickle me.
And then he slaps it so many times with a fly spotter that he comes.
Aye. Pavlov dogs himself now to tickle fights.
Pavlov dogs himself to tickle fights. I like that as a
Aye,
sentence. You looked at us there like I was going to do a critique. I was just enjoying it from my mouth.
Just thought I was going to have the pleasure of explaining to you what Pavlov dogs mean.
No.
And then I could be dead educated in my own head.
No, you've explained it before and I remembered.
Oh, fuck.
Your dad uses his nostrils to save his chewing gum, but there's one time he sneezed and blew a bubble so big that he floated off.
Your dad watches porn but doesn't masturbate. He just sits there and mumbles. Must be nice.
Just jealous.
Aye. Oh. La-di-da. Oh. Happens every day to you, does it?
It's all right for some.
Aye. Wouldn't it be me?
One man's junk. Another man's pleasure.
One man's spunk is another man's pleasure, is what you should have.
Your dad insists people refer to him with the pronouns it and that.
Fair enough, that's what his parents called him. It just comes from his childhood.
Anything to plug? You do.
We do, but we're on tour. And, well, here's the thing. So, they're pretty much all sold out. Because everything's at like fucking 25 to 50% capacity, and these are the shows that we would have been on last year that have been rescheduled and stuff. But if you want to fucking gamble, there are occasionally new shows that have been added, and some tickets available.
And they're expected to be at capacity, some of them.
Yeah, it's getting...
And it might get to the point where there's like hesitations from the government and U-turns, and we might have to split them down into two shows, but that's out of our hands. That's all into the contingency plans of our management.
This just... Oh, wait, fucking maybe we're not all sold out. So, Camberley sold out, Worthing sold out, Manchester mostly sold out, but the Sunday show in Manchester is not sold out, June the 6th. Newcastle, 3 of those shows are sold out, but June the 11th is not sold out. That's at the Town Theatre. Portsmouth, 17th, not sold out yet. 2 shows in Brighton on the 19th. Also, another fucking Newcastle date. And then Bristol, Lincoln, Birmingham, Halifax, Barnard Castle, London, places. Oh, and Edinburgh. We're doing Edinburgh. Just go to the fucking website. You know the drill, cunts.
Alright, and I'll plug our Patreon. If you're listening to this on the other free podcast channels, you can support the podcast for £3, or you can sign up for £5 and get extra stuff, videos, bonus podcasts for guests.
Aye.
And it keeps the podcast running, so thank you to the people listening to it on Patreon already. Thank you very much for being here.
Much appreciated. Love you lots.